Alabaster Lies. And I'm... frick.
Hello, friends. My name is Alabaster Lias, and I just found out I have crippling stage fright.
Woohoo!
And after writing a poor voiceover intro script, failing to recite it in a way that sounded vaguely human, and deleting about 2.5 minutes of content that will never see the light of day, here we are, back at the beginning. Poetic. Almost like a movie. Since we just got a voiceover now, I should probably give you something for your eyes to do, so here's some footage of me playing Super Mario Bros. 2. No, not that one. Not that one, the other one. The better one. I guess I should introduce myself and tell you what this whole YouTube thing is going to be about, since it's my first time doing it. So, yeah, I'm a stupid child who likes video games, hence the name. I mostly like video games, hence the name, but I also like movies and TV shows and music, good music. But just because my channel name has stupid in the title doesn't mean I think any opinions expressed here are stupid, no matter how strange or mysterious to the general public they might be. Except when it's clearly meant as a joke, of course, like most of the examples shown on screen a few moments ago. Also, I am steadfastly a Nintendo person. Every other console is my mortal enemy. And if you're wondering, because it's the first question most people would ask to someone introducing themselves, my Smash Bros. Main is Ganondorf. Alright, on with the video. Just a quick note before we actually get on with the video. This wasn't the one I've always intended to be my first one. I just thought it would make more sense to make it when some of my primal rage was still brewing and the topic was still somewhat relevant. You know what I need? I need a camera and a script. So imagine you're me, right? A stupid Nintendo-obsessed teenager who bases half their recent opinions and most of their buying decisions on Metacritic.com. One day you go on your favorite site on the internet, Metacritic.com, to check the score of a new game. Everything is as normal. The site is as you know it and love it. You close the site. About 30 minutes later, you go to check it again to check in on that game's score. You type in the website or URL, or rather just the letter M, because you use the site often enough that it's the first result, press enter, and see this. Well, what the frick, fandom? I was shell-shocked. I was absolutely flabbergasted. Something new and different? That can't exist! But seriously though, I was angry. Every time I thought about it, I seethed in anger for probably multiple weeks. What? Okay, scripting error. Let's keep going. And I'm still angry now, even if it's subsided a bit with the egregious amount of time it took me to get around to making this video. And I'm about to tell you why. Offense 1. It just looks way uglier for, like, no good reason. The previous UI had a slightly dated look, maybe, but it was simple, clean, and functional. This new UI, it overloads my brain with information, but at the same time gives me less of the information I actually want. I mean, what's even the point of this big colored bar on top of the media card when literally 2 inches away there's a square that tells you that and more. And the rounded edges and everything just make it feel more cluttered, like there's too much on the screen for my brain to take in, and all the new assets just make the site run more poorly and make things take longer to load, and now it just kind of looks like Rotten Tomatoes. Which brings me to my next point. Offense 2. It's way harder to navigate. Again, for no good reason. One of my main gripes with its main competitor, Rotten Tomatoes, is that it's just cumbersome to navigate, with it being difficult to find information like individual user reviews. As such, you have to, like, go into that, I think. Yeah. But, like, the first time I visited this site, I didn't know that. And just the UI is so busy that it's hard to find any of the things you actually want. I kind of mentioned it before, but the new Metacritic UI does a lot of these things. It kind of uses the same system of, like, you can click there, or click in another place, or click in a different place. But it's a lot more hidden now, I feel like. You can't just... Oh. I guess you can. But the point is, I just can't tell where the frick I'm going half the time. It's hard to explain in a way that doesn't sound like filler, and honestly, I don't remember my own argument that much myself, but I promise you, I'm right. Which doesn't bring me into my next point. Offense 3! A lot of the new stuff they added just kind of either sucks, is unnecessary, or actively makes the site less good. At least to me. In the first category, we have something they added in the best of blank tabs. This used to be, say, you wanted to know some good games to play, or just peruse some lists of them for fun. You could hover over the Games tab, and you could click either Best Games This Year, or Best Games of All Time. Or Users' Best Games of All Time, but we don't talk about that. And it would give you a nice ranking by Metascore from best to least best, I guess, of all the games within one of those two time frames. That was it. Now with the new UI, well, that's still it, but now look, they added this dinky little slider at the bottom here. Very cute, right? Wrong! This little thing is a demon sent by Xbox. Not literally, that's just a joke on how I'm an aggressive Nintendo fan. Because I'm funny. And not absolutely bonkers crazy and worshipping Nintendo. Okay, back to the video. But anyway, yeah, don't be tricked by its deceptive cuteness, because this thing is a little mammoth thrept. So what this little slider is for is so you can change the years it searches through. So instead of showing you every rated game for every year ever, you can just say, for example, you want to rate a ranking of every game from 1993 to 2007. Now this would be pretty cool. It's a neat idea, it could actually be a minorly useful addition to the site, but here's the thing. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Watch. Every time you try to use it, it reloads the site. So you can't even slide it. You have to click. And it doesn't give you an exact year. It's just 1910 and 2023. And that's it. That's all the information it gives you. So it's just... you're kind of guessing at the increment you want. And if I want... and it doesn't even work. Like, both of them are on, I don't know, like, 2000 right now. And I have Mario Galaxy 2, which is 2007, and Perfect Dark from 2000. Those are from 2 different years. It should be just 1 year, right? And so, what? It doesn't work. It straight up just doesn't work. It attempts to work. Can do, like, I guess it kind of works, but it can't do just 1 year, and it doesn't tell you what years you're actually going from. You just have to estimate what you're asking it for. Secondly, we have stuff like this little information bar about the media you're looking at, which is located all the way at the bottom here. Now, a lot of this information was here before, like production company, runtime, etc., just located at the top. But the stuff they added is just kind of ridiculously pointless. Like, what do I need to know a movie's tagline to know if it's good or not? I guess it's kind of fun, which I guess maybe is the point, but then maybe don't treat it as having the same informational level of importance as the production company for the entire movie. I thought director was down here too, but I guess not. But just kind of like you could have all of the necessary information, like production company, duration, release date, up at the top here with directors and writers. The rest of the stuff is just kind of pointless. I think they did have this other stuff up there before. They just put it down here for some reason. And also the genres that are down here, and I think they're up here as well. Yeah, the genres are listed in 2 places, which is just completely unnecessary. A lot of the other stuff on this kind of page is fine. It's nice to see all the actors' faces there, but the trade-off is it takes up a lot of space, and it takes longer to actually see what you're looking for. The information box is just kind of pointless, like I said. And the weird thing is sometimes the description of the movie, the summary, is up here, like normal, but then sometimes it seems like it's down here in the information box. Woo, aliens, mysterious. Yeah, I thought it had been kind of a while since you had seen my face, and I thought you might be getting bored with my unnecessary commentary on this website, so there you go. I don't know what's going on there. I might just be hallucinating. So then if that happens, if I don't know what a movie is, I have to scroll all the way down to the information box to know what I'm looking at. Okay. And like show times or where to buy, yeah, I guess that's okay. But what I don't guess is okay is our third category. The things that actively make the site worse, in my opinion. They absolutely ruined the best of all time lists. Yeah, we're talking about this again. How? Okay, first of all, they completely ruined users' best games, which I know I said I wouldn't talk about, but here we are, where it's straight up just wrong. At first it was messed up because they lowered the amount of reviews necessary for it to show up, so there was a game with 5 user reviews as their best game ever, but today as I was writing this, I found out now it's just incorrect. See, we clicked best games of all time, then user score. Okay, first of all, why do they not show the user score anymore? That's just ridiculous when it's ranking them by user score. But also, perhaps even more importantly, if we look at our first one here, it's Persona 5 Tactica, right? If we click onto this, it's an 8.0. Going by objectively what we filtered for, that should be the highest user score of any video game on the site, right? Wrong. I know for certain there are games with higher user scores. Like here, Mario Galaxy has a 9.1. So I thought maybe it's something to do with the fact that it's a recent release. But then the next game isn't recent, so I tried clicking on it to see its score. But then something weird happens. It's a 9.0, that seems normal. But then if we go back, it's Portal still alive. Now it's Fire Emblem Path of Radiance. That's a 9.1. Path of Radiance again. Sometimes it's Path of Radiance the first time and then Portal, I think. And then other games, I don't know, it's weird. It's so weird. then if we reload it again, now it's Path of Radiance. Best games of all time. User score. Path of Radiance again. But at first it was Portal, which isn't anywhere near here. I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And also the fact that, as I showed you before, Mario Galaxy has a 9.1 user score, but it's nowhere to be seen on the highest user scores. That's a 9.0. Back to Path of Radiance, 9.1. So then Mario Galaxy also has a 9.1. Let's go here. That's a 9.0. So Mario Galaxy should be between those. But it's not. It's nowhere to be found. Weird. Okay, but what really miffs me here is best games of all time. The regular one. What miffs me about this is not here, the page with all the best ones, no. It's if you want to look for the worst. Because they kind of just punt everything that doesn't have a score to the end. Now, writing this today, I realize right now it isn't that bad anymore. We've just got Disney Dreamlight Valley for PS5, which hasn't come out yet. But when this new UI first went live, it was a madhouse. There were just pages and pages of things that didn't have a score, like probably 20 pages of demo discs and games no one's heard of, and strangely, games you had to click into to see the score, like for some reason it wasn't displaying on the list. So props to them for kind of fixing that. Yeah, just PS5. If we click into movies, you can kind of visualize what that might have been like. Yeah, imagine that, like all of these without a score, but times 40, and you couldn't just click into where they had a score. You had to systematically go through each one, each page, until you actually found the ones with the lowest score, instead of just stuff with no score. So basically, the bottom line for this offense is that they added some unnecessary things, and some of their old features work worse now for some reason. But maybe, just maybe, they're trying to fix it. Offense 4! The final offense! This is probably the greatest offense of all, which is removal of features.
Woohoo!
Wahoo. We'll start with the least egregious and work up to the most. First of all, in this thing of featured media on the homepage, there used to be little descriptions of the media there. Stuff like why they got that score, stuff like that. Kind of mini editorials. It's not a huge deal that they're gone, but they were kind of nice. It was nice to see what the people working on the site thought of these things, and sometimes they were funny, or they would change as the score changed, and it just made the site feel more alive. They made the site more welcoming, especially since they were right there in your face as you open it up, and I was devastated to see them go. The only reason I put this as the least egregious is because they traded off for more featured media, so I guess it makes sense that they didn't want to have to pay someone to write a sentence for all of them. It is kind of a lot now. Next, we have the company profiles. Let's say you wanted to know Nintendo's average Metascore throughout all of their games. You used to be able to do that. You could, I believe, just search Nintendo and filter by companies. Or maybe you had to go into a game's profile and click on them from there. I don't even remember at this point. It's been so long since Bliss. But there was some way to do it, and you could see their average review score over all the time Metacritic had been around, and it was great. And then they took it away. For no reason. Now if I want that, I have to look up a list of every game Nintendo has ever made. And search them all individually on Metacritic and average them. Or maybe take the average of everything Miyamoto's done and then subtract it from that previous list. And then take the averages of all those games, which is just ridiculous. That would take so long. Like, why would they remove that? I am stricken. Like, I'll admit, maybe it wasn't the most streamlined feature. It was a little clunky, but so were the person profiles, and they kept those! I see genuinely no good reason to remove this feature. I think generally, if a feature on your website is clunky, the solution is not to remove it, it is to fix it? Just maybe? Which they could have very easily done. Just do the exact same thing you did with the person profiles, which are so much easier to get to and navigate now. But they didn't, and just removed the feature. But this holds no candle, not even a smidgen of wax, to the very worst offense that is a subsection of another offense this new UI did. They removed the little pop-up menu on the search bar. Now, this has been a journey. Let me explain. In the previous UI, whenever you type something in, say, Super Mario, there was a little drop-down thing that would give you a list of maybe 7 pieces of media at most that had those words in them and it thought were relevant. Importantly, it also displayed what score they had with this. This feature was great. It was convenient, it was quick to use, and it was fun. And then, as you can probably guess, they took it away. This makes me astoundingly angered, because unlike the other two, this was an integral feature to the experience of the site. It's much slower now to find whatever media you're looking for, especially with what I mentioned before being true, where everything takes a while to load now. I'm not sure if it's truly because of the new assets, because it could just be the removal of this feature, making it all the more apparent. Well, the computer I'm filming this on is pretty good. My school-issued computer, which I often use to access the site, is not. But before this UI change, I almost never had a problem with loading on Metacritic on that computer, which I think is because this drop-down made it so much more convenient to get the information I was looking for. I could just search Mario Odyssey, get the score, backspace, then search Return of the Jedi, and get that score too. If I really wanted more information, there was at most one click to get where I want. So when I saw the new UI, was initially flabbergasted, of course, then tried to type something in, saw the removal of this, and then the ridiculous time to load the list of media after entering, I would say, understandably, very angry. The fun is gone, I said. I used to be able to find a score in no clicks, and now it takes 1 and 2 if I want to go into the profile? This is unacceptable! I know it sounds really stupid and probably kind of bratty, but those few extra seconds it takes to find something's score legitimately makes me use the site for fun a lot less. It's just so much less convenient and at a glance. I can't just find 3 scores in 15 seconds like I used to be able to. It feels a lot less like, well, a game. Which is the main thing they review on this site. It just makes the site feel a lot less welcoming to me. And again, there was no good reason to remove it. But that's not the end of the story. No, no, no. Because when the new UI first came out, I felt the obligation to send Metacritic support a letter. Because I'm just that kind of person. I mostly talked about the longer load times because I didn't want to seem too passive-aggressive, but in the end, in a PS, I did talk a little bit about how they had taken away the search bar pop-up, attempting to sound as non-angry as I possibly could, because, you know, I try to be a good person, and didn't want to harrow these poor people at Metacritic support much more than I already had. 2 days later, I was beginning to lose hope they would respond, because why would they, when this guy Dylan Host, who's apparently the community manager for safety, pulled through with the clutch. He told me this: "Hi there. Thanks for contacting Fandom. The feedback is genuinely appreciated and will be passed on to the Metacritic team. Warmest regards, Dylan Host, Community Manager, Safety." Now, this response is pretty generic. I assumed it was just put there to satiate me. Well, he said my feedback was genuinely appreciated and would be passed on to the Metacritic team. That's just help desk jargon for leave me alone, I don't need this in my life. Right? Well, 2 months later, as I was in the midst of making this video, I opened up Metacritic.com, searched for something, and it was back. This was fantastic. They listened! I mean, it probably wasn't actually in response to me, but it's fun to think it was. And if it was, like, wow, that's dedication to your audience. I was elated. I told my parents, I texted my best friend, I replanned the whole structure of this section of the video. You may be wondering why I haven't shown it to you yet. Well, it's because it's gone again. I went to the site the next day, and it wasn't there. They brought it back for 1 day, and then took it away again. Well, what the frick, fandom? Metacritic support has yet to respond to my request for comment. Updates coming in the future. To be honest, there are a few good things they added, as much as I hate to admit it. It's easier to access editorials. They added nice best of every console / streaming service lists on the homepages of every medium. It's nice to have the distribution of positive and negative and mixed on the featured stuff on the homepage. It's nice on the best of all time lists. They made longer rows so it takes less time to scroll. The site's a lot nicer on mobile now. You can actually navigate it. It's just more YouTube to make a video about how I hate something and despise everything about it. But anyway, if you did watch to the end, as I assume you would have if you're hearing this, since it's my first video, it would be really cool if you could comment, tell me if you liked it, if you hated it, if you thought it was fantastically mediocre, what I did well, what could be improved. That'd just be neat. Anyway, thanks for sitting through my aggressive fandom of Metacritic. See what I did there? And I'll see you some other time, maybe. I want to make a Game Awards video. We'll see if I can finish it before they actually happen. Bye. Like a movie.